This video is brought to you by my supporters over at Hey Craftapreneur. Hey Craftapreneur is my monthly pattern club, which includes my knitting, crochet, and centro knitting machine designs. Each month, members are given access to at least 2 of these designs as they are either added to the library or updated, and they will have continual access to my entire written/video pattern library for as long as they are members. Membership also gives you the title of Super Crafty because that's what you are. Members are also given complimentary access to most of my crochet or knitting courses that are published on the website. For example, I recently published a step-by-step crochet course which will walk you through all the terminology, discussions about gauge, and the actual mechanics of the craft. It is a self-paced course that is usually purchased individually, but because you are monthly or quarterly supporters, you get access to it totally free as long as you're signed up for the club. The support I get from Hey Craftapreneur allows me to continue to operate this channel and publish the tutorial content that you've come to know and love. So, if you want to support me and make cool stuff, as I'm sure you've seen under the community tab here, then consider heading over and signing up today after the end of this tutorial. Alright, let's dive into the instruction. Hello everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Infiniti and today I'm back with another Continental knitting stitch tutorial. Today I will be showing you how to knit the cut stagger ribbing stitch. It is, well, basically what it is. It's ribbing, but it gives you this checkered pattern mixed in with a little bit of garter stitch that I think can be kind of fun. This pattern is an easy 8-row repeat, and it is of course reversible because that is the nature of ribbing. For this stitch, you will want to cast on in multiples of 4 and then add an additional 2. If you want to do edge stitching, you can add another 2 so you have an edge stitch on each side. But for today, man, I feel like I cast on 30, but we can do a quick recount. For this swatch, I cast on 26. So this is a good width for a standard scarf. I'm using a 4-weight yarn. For this, I'm actually using Red Heart Super Saver. If you're curious, this is typically what I use in my tutorials. But anyway, without further ado, let's dive into the instruction. Alright, for row 1, we will be on the right side of our work, and we are going to have a repeat of knit 2, purl 2 all the way across. So I'm going to attach this new color. I think it'd be better to see, at least for me, a little change. Okay. Alright, and I knit my first one. I'm going to knit my second one. Okay, and then I'm going to bring my yarn forward, and we are going to purl 2. We're going to knit the next 2. All the way across. You can really use any kind of cast on for this stitch. I did a regular long tail cast on for this one. If you're making a garment, I always recommend a stretchier cast on and bind off combo, but you can use whatever you're comfortable with. And knitting my last 2. Oops. And that is the end of row 1. For row 2, we're going to turn our work, and we are going to essentially knit the knits and purl the purls. So we ended off on knit stitches in the last row. On the back side of the work, those look like purl stitches. So I'm going to bring my yarn forward, and we're simply going to purl the first 2 stitches. If you're kind of new to knitting, basically when a pattern says to knit the knits and purl the purls on a second row or something, it's basically telling you to do the opposite of what you just did. So now these next 2 stitches, we are going to knit them because they look like knits on this side of the work. Purl the next 2. And and so on and so on all the way across the row. Getting close to the end of the row here, and we're going to purl these last 2 stitches. Alright, and that is the end of row 2. For row 3, we're going to turn our work. And row 3 is super easy because the only thing we're going to do is knit all the way across. Let's not ply our yarn. Alright. And that is the end of row 3. Now on to row 4. For row 4, turn our work, and we are simply going to knit each stitch along. Alright, and knitting my last stitch here. And this is the end of row 4. Alright, for row 5, we are going to purl 2, knit 2 all the way across. We're going to bring the yarn forward so we can purl. Knit the next 2. And 2. Then purl the next 2. All the way across this row. Got a little ahead of myself there. Alright, and this is what row 5 looks like. So now we are going to move on to row 6. And again, we are going to knit the knits and purl the purls. So these first 2 stitches will look like knit stitches. So we're just going to work those as we see them. 1, 2. The next stitches look like purl stitches, so we're going to purl those 2. Let me fix this. There we go. We're going to purl these next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Then knit the next 2. All the way across. Coming up on the end of this row and knitting these final 2 stitches. 1, 2, and this is the end of row 6. For row 7, we're going to turn our work and we're going to knit each stitch along. Alright, coming up on these last few stitches. And this is what the end of row 7 looks like. And you might have guessed it, row 8, the final row of our repeat, we are going to knit each stitch across. Right, coming up on these last few stitches here, and voila. Alright, it's the back side of the work. That's what row 8 looks like completed. Turn it back on the right side here, and this is our finished result. Alright, and this is what the cut stagger ribbing looks like. Like I said, it's reversible and it's really nice for scarves. Of course, it's super stretchy because it is a ribbing stitch, so it's great for really any garment that you want to apply it to. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If so, don't forget to leave it a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on my future crochet content. I'm sorry, my future knitting content, because I am human. Anyway, I typically post this type of content on Wednesdays at 9:30 a.m. CST, so if you want to be a part of my community and learn continental knitting from me, it's the best way to do it. Otherwise, you can find all of my other content on my website, InfinitiCraftingCompany.com. And again, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Hey Crafterpreneur Pattern Club members. You guys are like the backbone of this channel right now, and I appreciate your continued support. If you would like to be a part of that community, feel free to head over to the link in my description box and sign up today. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until then, happy making.